You're listening to Bros Let's Talk.
Hey, it's Bros Let's Talk. Pat here with Jimmy and Andy. What's up, dudes?
What up?
Hey, dudes.
Chillin'. We are taking a little break from our documentary series, WWE Legends biography on A&E. So we're going to talk and update ourselves in the entertainment world. We haven't talked about any of the exciting Marvel updates lately or any of the insane DC updates that we see on a daily basis. So we're going to use this episode as a means to catch up, and then next week we'll jump back in with the Shawn Michaels episode of biography on A&E. But yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that's come out lately, and it's been kind of weird not talking about it. Not to say that we couldn't just talk about it on those other episodes if we wanted to, but we've just been focusing on the documentaries so much, and there's so much to say about those. But the biggest thing I thought was the Phase 4 trailer that Marvel released 2-3 weeks ago now. Just on a random Monday, just dropped this 3-minute trailer.
It's an awesome video.
Very cool.
Honestly, one of the best hype videos I've ever seen for anything in my entire life. And I'm not just saying that as a massive Marvel fan, because it gave you a little preview, more of a preview of the things that are to come here in the next few months, extended scenes or whatever. And then you got little tidbits of everything in the future. And then at the end, you just got the titles for things that still aren't being made, but are in the works. And there's just so many movies coming out from now, basically starting in July with Black Widow through 2022, 23.
Just crazy because
23,
we talked about at the end of basically Infinity War, we had Spider-Man Far From Home, and then there was this giant gap
Yeah.
that we talked about, and we all were saying how crazy it was that they were just not putting out really anything for a long time.
Ended so much further because of COVID.
I was just gonna say that, and then COVID happened, and now we're in 2021, and now everything's here. So
finally.
And it's crazy
Right.
because you're right, because it felt so far away, but because of COVID, it got delayed, but it's gotten here kind of faster now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Time just is irrelevant almost at this point. And
Yeah, I'm super excited.
if you haven't seen the trailer that we're talking about, just go to YouTube and search Marvel. Go to Marvel's YouTube. It'll probably be at the top of their page, the most recent video that they've posted. But the biggest revelations, I think, were Captain Marvel 2 is now The Marvels, featuring Miss Marvel, which is going to be a show that comes out this fall, I believe. That's
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
August,
so.
August, I think.
August. Okay, so the end of the summer. And then Black Panther 2 is now Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And Jimmy saw a article that was rumoring Killmonger was going to take the throne and teach Shuri.
Which to me, before I even saw this, I had hoped. We've talked extensively on this podcast how we think they wasted that character. Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger was such a great, not that they wasted it, but they could have done so much more with it. And obviously you hope, or you would wish that wasn't at the expense of Chadwick Boseman. But I don't know how else you make a Black Panther 2 without going that route.
Agreed.
So I hope that rumor is true. I wish we saw more of Killmonger from the first one. I hope that they find a way to bring him back and then go from there, because I think that would do it justice. That you're then not replacing the original Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman. So I hope they go that route. I think that's the only way that they should do it.
Because outside of Chadwick Boseman, those two jumped off the screen.
Yes.
I know there's a huge fan following for Shuri. I'm a big fan. I thought she was a super, like, the comic relief in most Marvel movies. Young Black girl would add huge demographic things for for the movie and Marvel in general. If she ends up being kind of the next step for the Black Panther movies. But I'm totally on board because Michael B. Jordan, like you just said, he was phenomenal in that movie. He's become an A-list star. So
Yes.
to pivot to that, I think is a good option. Definitely.
I also I know that they're not thrilled with Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. So maybe this is another way you can pivot by having what's her name? Shuri's name in real life. Do we know?
I don't know it off the top of my
I
head.
know, but neither do I. And so to maybe have her turn into the Black Panther would be a cool different direction to go, because part of the reason they're doing the Marvels is because they're just not thrilled with the feedback from Brie Larson. And I know she has raised issues with Marvel. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but even when I saw that movie, it was almost like it was a movie about her, but it was really more about Samuel L. Jackson, and she was just kind of in the movie. I don't know if that was how it was written, how it was directed, but she just hasn't stood out to me as like a, oh my gosh, character. And again, maybe that's not her fault. I don't know. It just something doesn't seem, or something has seemed off about her as Captain Marvel to me.
That might be more Brie Larson, the person.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure how if it's her, if it's the writing, or if it's what.
I think she's fine as an actress, but she's very outspoken. So, and I don't know, the character itself is kind of off-putting. You know, Carol Danvers, she's kind of a tough, like badass chick who
marches to the beat of her own drum, and
right.
So, I like Captain Marvel.
No, so did I. I mean, I liked it. I see the importance it has in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially going back and watching it again. But I mean, I don't know if it's cracking anyone's top 10.
Yeah, I feel like it came
definitely not anyone's top 5
game, like with like the timeline within the Infinity War timeline, because it's like that was one of the four of the last movies that came out, and it was her first appearance into the whole.
Right.
So I think
that's true.
Really have enough time to develop.
So, right, and I guess that's what I mean. If it's, I don't know if it's necessarily her fault or Marvel's fault, Pat, like you said, how they did it, but it didn't do a lot for me, and I liked it a lot more the second time, but still just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not up there for me. And Pat, to that point where you bring this character in at the end or towards the end, and they did the same thing with Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is a very, very well-known character with
an established character,
a unique origin story. And while it might have been new to the MCU, it's not like a brand new character being brought in where only comic book fans know who Captain Marvel is.
Plus,
correct.
Everyone wanted that at that point too. Everyone wanted Spider-Man brought in, whereas no one was out there, preaching for like, let's get Captain Marvel in the Avengers. We need that.
Right. And not to downplay his importance, but Spider-Man's relevance to defeating Thanos, as opposed to Captain Marvel's relevance to defeating Thanos, are, I don't want to say night and day, but pretty close. And to have her introduce that late and basically like, oh, you can't beat him without her.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we just uncovered a wrinkle in the Marvel plan.
You questioning Kevin?
I would never question Kevin. I'm just saying maybe
Kevin.
there was a wrinkle in his sheets that are otherwise
Jim
perfect.
You can start calling him Kevin Feige.
Okay, I still think we're on a first name basis with Kevin.
I'm gonna call him Yogurt. Yogurt. Will it be Kevin Yogurt?
Kevin Yogurt.
I like it. I'm down.
That. I'm just gonna stick with Kevin. I trust him.
We all know.
Can I call him Gert, like you'd shorten Bert for Robert?
I like that.
Just call him Gert. Most people think it's Gertrude. It's not. It's Yogurt, which is short for
Gert.
Yeah, Gert.
That's bad. I think most excitingly with Marvel is 2 weeks from now, Loki. debuts on Disney Plus. I think this is something that universally everyone who's ever watched a Marvel movie is excited for.
Yeah.
Because he's just such a good character, played perfectly by
long running too.
Long running, perfectly casted, very well written, even better
villain,
acted.
Too villainous character with, good guy tendencies at times.
Mm-hmm.
But a villain most of the time.
So is he a villain or an anti-hero?
I think he toes the line between villain and hero.
Okay.
Because at the very beginning he was very much like trying to take over the world and destroy things.
1000%.
Yeah, I don't think you can really define it, and I think that's kind of what makes him an interesting character, is because he does toe that line, but he's not afraid to cross it in either direction.
Right.
So whatever favors him, he's kind of just like a nomad. He's out on his own doing whatever he has to do, whatever in his best interest at that time, depending on how he's feeling. And I'm interested to see what they do with this series, because I don't really know.
It looks weird.
About like mischief, I guess, which is perfect. And I'm interested to see Owen Wilson added to the mix. I am gonna have a notepad handy and do an active
wow.
Yeah.
That has to be in there. It has to.
It'll be in there. It will be. But I'm very excited for this series. I am all caught up with Marvel's series. Jim, you watched WandaVision, right?
Yes, I did.
Me and Andy watched that live week to week. Andy, did you watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet?
No, I'm not caught up. I'm through 3 episodes.
Well, Jim, have you started that at all?
No, I'm gonna start it tonight, actually.
Okay, so I caught up. I watched those live as well, and I thought it was a good show. I thought its peak was kind of the last, not even the. Let's see, there was 8 episodes, I think, maybe 6 episodes even. Not the finale wasn't as good as the lead up to it, in my opinion, but I still enjoyed the show as a whole. And the acting was really good in this series. Obviously Anthony Mackie has been good in all of his appearances, and same with Sebastian Stan. But Wyatt Russell's introduction to the series was, I'm not going to say anything to spoil the show, but his portrayal of this character will be up there with people who are just with characters that just frustrate you. But I'm in the best possible, not like frustrate you in the best way, but you just realize how good the acting is.
Right. Like he's not frustrating you because he's a Mortal Kombat origin character. He's frustrating you because he's supposed to, and he's a good actor.
Right.
Yeah. You just get so mad at him at certain points throughout the series, but it's because he's for obviously one aspect that he's trying to, he's replacing Captain America, essentially. I mean, people have seen the pictures. That's not
I know. Yeah.
But you'll see what I mean with as far as like what he does. But I enjoyed the show. I definitely encourage anyone who's a Marvel fan to watch it. Seeing what it evolved into was pretty cool, and they tackle some social issues that are some people maybe didn't appreciate, but I think Marvel does everything tastefully to where it had a good resolution, and yeah, you guys should definitely watch it. It definitely adds to the storyline.
I'm on it
for sure.
And then we also had the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer drop Monday.
I still have to watch the first Venom. I still haven't seen that.
So Jimmy still hasn't seen.
It's on my list to do this week.
You've probably said that it's been on your list multiple
since
times.
The day it came out. I think
it's still on the list, but it's gotten bumped big time.
How big is your list? I just imagine you pull out a scroll and you just drop it down.
Okay, we all know that I'm a big list guy. Got a lot of notes, on my phone, so it's on there. A lot of notes.
Is there any
64
way
notes
you
I
could-
have on my phone. How
any
many
way
notes do
you
y'all
could
have?
transcribe them into
It's like
a scroll?
3, and it's some passwords for some websites.
You have 3 notes. I have 64.
See, I might have a ton because I just put stuff like random things and like jewel lists and notes, and then I never delete them.
Yeah, I've actively cleaned that up. So
I
I'm with
cleaned mine
you.
up.
I need to do that. I have 73 notes right now.
Dang.
But you know what? I'm glad actually looking back, a lot of my notes are notes for the podcast.
Nice.
Like early on episodes, episode 61. Episode
61. You know what? I realized this when I was looking today. We didn't even call to attention that we just had our 150th
150th
episode a couple weeks ago.
We did.
Yeah.
We're halfway to 200, y'all.
Right here, 12/9/18 Hall of Fame PS2 games.
Dang.
Guitar Hero 2, Twisted Metal Black, God of War 2, GTA Vice City, and Prince of Persia Warrior Within.
Vice
Pretty
City.
good list.
Great game.
What a great game.
I'm glad I looked at my notes. Thanks, Jim.
Sure.
Still trying to transcribe yours into a scroll.
Anytime.
Venom trailer.
Venom trailer. Anywho, we got the first on-screen sighting of Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson.
So excited for that. Did not know he was going to play Carnage.
I don't know. I'm not really excited for this movie.
I was like, how did you not know?
Yeah, Jimmy hasn't seen Venom.
It's in the end credits.
Yep. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because haven't seen it.
I don't know. I thought the first movie was okay.
I think we were in agreement when we talked about that.
I'm not really. The trailer, it looked, I don't know. There's just so much CGI nowadays. It's kind of bothering me lately. How much
I've been saying this for that's what pisses me off about DC is the CGI is out of control.
And you know what? I was texting with Nick McDonald about this the other day too, but Tom Hardy's American accent just is kind of terrible.
Tara.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of, I don't even know how to explain. He says it's like, what did he say? I can't remember the way he described it.
It's not great.
It's not great. And he's better when his face is just covered. And he speaks with his, okay, Andy, he's in Peaky Blinders, right?
Correct.
He speaks with just his normal accent, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his normal British accent is, but
he's with an English accent in there.
Yes.
Correct. In Inception, he has an English accent.
Correct.
Right? So he's sometimes, he's a great actor. I love his movies for the most part, but yeah, his American accent isn't the best.
That's why he was so good in Mad Max Fury Road, because he hardly spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
One day we should do a top 5 actors or actresses that have accents that you didn't know about until you saw it in an interview.
There's a lot.
Yeah, that I was like, damn, I didn't even know you had one.
While we're on this subject, I'm just gonna, because this isn't an actor, and I could have just waited to bring it up, but I've been wanting to bring this up organically on the show, so I'm so happy you said.
Go on.
Guys, anyone who lives in the Chicagoland area or Vegas area has seen Glenn Lerner's Billboards.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Injury lawyer 222-2222.
Oh,
Did you know
22.
that Glenn Lerner is actually Glenn Lerner from Australia?
See, I thought it was him. I thought it was him from like New York.
I mean, it's Glenn Lerner, but when he says it on the, hi, I'm attorney Glenn Lerner. He's totally.
See, I hear this super thick New York accent when I hear him talk.
No, he's Australian, bro.
Now this is messing with my head, and I have to hear I'll listen after the podcast, and I'll.
You haven't heard his god awful commercials where he's like,
I definitely. You called 222-2222.
I've definitely heard them, but now that Pat's saying Australian and you're saying New York, I can't hear it in my head without thinking of like a super thick Crocodile Dundee accent and a super Bronx accent. I can't.
I'm a Glenn Lerner. That's how he says it. He's totally Australian.
All right, Andy, you're gonna be the
judge.
deciding vote here. Andy's gonna come back, but he's from Boston. What are you talking about?
Any of our
southern drawl
listeners out there,
any of our condiments know what we're talking about.
If you guys know Glenn Lerner, let us know what accent you think
I'm
It's
going
too funny.
hard New York,
All
like
right, I'll listen
Bronx,
after.
Brooklyn, Staten Island.
Okay, I'll check it out. Anyway, Venom trailer.
We're still
Jimmy,
here.
Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on. I just Googled Glenn.
Don't spoil it.
Okay, I won't spoil it. I'll tell you guys off my Venom trailer.
I think we talked about this, Pat, in our thread. I had no idea that this movie was so far along
I didn't either.
because I knew that the first one obviously came out, and they definitely teased the second one, but I didn't know if it was going to be well received enough for them to actually follow through with the second movie. So
Yes.
I didn't even know that it was in production, anything like that. And then out of nowhere, trailer drops. So that was kind of shocking to me. I have a feeling it'll probably end up being like the first one, but I hope they kind of clean up the things that were kind of not well received from the first. It's just it is with those types of characters, there's so much CGI and so much stuff going on. It's just it felt like one of those movies like what could have been in the first Venom movie. And so I hope they kind of clean it up with the second one. Because I love the whole like Spider-Man animated series, and Venom and Carnage are huge characters in that. So I'm excited for that little dynamic of Venom and Carnage. But
Jim, what was the Super Nintendo game we used to play?
Maximum Carnage.
Yeah,
Yep.
That was amazing.
Great game.
I think you hit it right on the head, Andy, when you said Venom. The first one, there was just, I felt like I had left wanting so much more.
I was so excited for that movie after that trailer dropped. And then it just, I thought I wasn't like upset. Like it wasn't bad. It felt like it could have been more, and it left me wanting more.
So I'm just going to say this now too, because Jimmy hit it right on the head, but Glenn Lerner's from Boston.
That's so funny.
I only say it because I clearly have no ability to identify accents. I thought he was Australian.
Oh man, that's great.
He's from Boston.
So we were both wrong. It's fine.
Glenn Lerner. I guess that's Boston. Then. I thought that was Australian. I was so confident too. I literally was saying he was Australian as if I knew. Quick Google.
But Andy,
search.
you still have to go and listen. Let us know what you think.
Right. Yeah. Tell us what, I mean, obviously you know what it is now, but I mean, he didn't say anything obvious like wicked smart.
Right.
He would have said that. I would have known.
He didn't mention the Red Sox in his commercial, so there was no way that I could know that he was actually from Boston.
Hey, I'm attorney Glenn Lerner. I'm an attorney, so I'm wicked smart. If he would have said that, I would have known. That
we would have known exactly where he was from.
I'm thinking he's from Melbourne, Australia.
You mean Melbourne?
Melbourne. Like Mel Gibson, someone else who's kind of surprised to find out he's from Australia. Add him to the list when we do it next week of celebrities that surprised you with an accent.
There you go.
A lot of them out there. All right. Anything else, you guys? Oh, Jimmy, wanted to touch real quick. There's a story out there. I don't what was the news outlet that you sent that about The Rock?
I don't even know.
Basically what it was saying.
Hold on. Yeah, you talk. Let me find it.
And this has been well documented that the Black Adam movie is being made with The Rock. Obviously, Shazam 2 is I think
we got this covered.com.
Okay. And I think Shazam 2 is in post-production. So
yeah, that's pretty close.
That will lead into Black Adam, assuming.
Yes.
And
yeah, we're assuming.
The report says that The Rock basically has like veto power over.
He has creative control.
Creative control at Warner Brothers to like override them about certain decisions, and he wants to have his version of Black Adam clash with Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League. And it's an interesting power dynamic because we've seen the Restore the Snyderverse hashtag kind of trend and go crazy on social media. But then there's also been reports that have come out in the recent weeks saying that the watch numbers for Justice League really compared to like Mortal Kombat and other movies was low, and the average watch time was really low, so people weren't actually finishing.
Yeah, because
it.
people probably saw it was 4 hours and were like, fuck this.
Bailed. Yep.
So it doesn't like as much leverage as it once seemed there was for this Restore the Snyderverse movement. Now it seems there's just as much like water to fuel or to dampen the fire. But this brings a whole new layer into it because this isn't a fan movement. This is The Rock, who is the biggest like actor going right now, at least from a money-making standpoint. And there are a lot of eyes now on this franchise, and WB needs this to be a huge
success.
They need this to be a multi-movie franchise, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. And the idea on paper seems okay. I do think that the Snyderverse or Snyder version of Justice League was better than, but I still think it could have been less than 4 hours. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. Again, this could all just be a rumor. But I also could see The Rock's point of view to where if he's going to be on screen fighting, or if he wants to be on screen fighting against Justice League, he wants to be this established version of it and not some piece together, whatever that they try and, because as we've seen, they're not really good on the fly.
I think a big part of it is that not that every movie that The Rock has attached himself to has been some groundbreaking movie, but quite frankly, the stuff that DC has put out has been shit.
Yes.
And for him to, he very easily could have rotated and gone the Marvel route. And
for sure. They would find something for him in a second.
Right. And so he chose to go this route with Black Adam and DC. For him to kind of commit to that, I'd be shocked if that wasn't kind of put in at the beginning of negotiations. Like, hey, not necessarily that he has like final cut or anything like that, but
no.
But I think he's big enough now to where he can kind of say like, hey, like I want to make sure this doesn't suck because it's got my name, which is arguably the biggest money grabber right now in the world.
For sure.
So great point.
I wouldn't be shocked.
If they had a better established cinematic universe right now, it'd be one thing. But the fact that now it's kind of dependent on really the Shazam and Black Adam franchise, because Shazam was pretty well received for the most part. Not the most commercially great movie, but well received by the critics to where, we know what happened. They just tried to rush everything together to compete with Marvel when they should have just stuck to the plan. But I think honestly, the biggest movie for Warner Brothers coming up in the next 2 years is the Batman, because it's kind of, they're rebooting Batman again. This movie was originally supposed to be with Ben Affleck, and now they're bringing a whole new Batman. The trailer looked great. We've seen in the past, anyone can put together a good trailer.
Medellin.
So we'll see, but I am excited for it. I will forever be excited and watch Batman movies. I think there's so much to do with that character. And
what's the other movie WB has coming out? With the giant butthole from the sand.
Dune.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I couldn't think of it.
But I guess to your point though, too, the Suicide Squad has potential with James Gunn on board.
Mm-hmm.
There are some projects coming up, but the state of the DC extended universe, or the DCU, or whatever they're called nowadays, is as per usual in shambles.
So I remember seeing a picture like 2 or 3 years ago of The Rock. He posted on his Instagram of him and Henry Cavill discussing Black Adam versus Superman. He's always referencing Jason Momoa in his stuff. He has a movie coming out with Gal Gadot on Netflix in the next couple months. So it would not surprise me at all if we see them maybe not restore the Snyderverse, but he goes up against those superheroes. Like they come to his movie instead of him going
You guys both
to
see
theirs.
Shazam?
Yes.
So in the post credit, when they have Superman come to the lunchroom,
Yeah.
Right.
it's faceless. So that supposedly is part of the big rift between Henry Cavill and Warner Brothers, is that they wanted him to do an in-person appearance for that, and he didn't want to do it because he was filming another movie, and would have been a pain in the ass for him to just come to film this one scene or whatever. So that supposedly is what started the rift between them.
Interesting.
Because they did that because I'm sure they want him included in that franchise.
For sure.
Make a face appearance there would have
gone a long way.
Yeah,
sure.
Powerful than what it was. So, all right, I think that's all we've got for this week's episode. A lot of stuff coming up. Hopefully, going to spend a lot of time at the movies this summer.
Yes, sir.
So if there's enough stuff coming out, I'm going to try and go like twice a month. Because I know
I like that.
once a week's not doable. But twice a month, I think, is possible. So we'll
like that.
Hopefully there's a good slate of movies this summer. Thank you guys to all of our condiments for listening. We appreciate you. If you don't already, follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, @Bros Let's Talk. Subscribe to us on YouTube and hit the notifications button so you know when our episodes go live. You can listen to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. It lives at anchor.fm/Bros Let's Talk. And our website is brosletstalk.com. For Jimmy and Andy, this is Pat. Later, dudes.
Peace.
See you, bros.